Hello, YouTube. Another year, another donut, am I right?
Am I right?
Okay, what I have here today is my childhood Game Boy Color. I got this for Christmas. Santa brought it to me. I don't remember what year exactly that was, but it did come with Pokemon Blue, the very best Pokemon in the world at the year of release. So what we're gonna do today is take this apart, clean it up. These buttons are kind of soft, so we're gonna clean those up a little bit. We're gonna clean the whole case, and we're gonna replace this clear plastic cover over the LCD screen. Don't really know what it's called. We're not gonna replace the LCD itself yet, not in this video at least. And we're just gonna make sure everything is good. There's a couple capacitors inside we're gonna measure in case I need to replace them later. And other than that, we're just gonna kind of get it good to go. So, first thing is first, we're going to pull the back off and take out the batteries. These are new batteries because I just tested it, but the batteries I pulled out expired in 2006. If you do anything else from this video, go find your old Game Boy and pull the batteries out. There's no reason to store this thing with batteries. They're gonna leak. Just be careful with it, okay? So I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tri-wing screws. We're gonna pull those out, see if we can get this thing apart. I think that's all we need to do, but we'll find out when we get there. I'm the really smart kind of guy who doesn't actually look up how to open these things before I open them. Go figure. And there's the inside of the Game Boy Color in all its glory. We have the CPU, CGB, 1998, Japan. Major features we have here, we have the infrared transmit and receive. We have the wire cable going to the LCD. We have the volume knob. We have the expansion port. We have the power switch right here, which interestingly enough, this just slides terribly. So all the detent for that switch is built into the plastic of the case. That's kind of interesting. Part of the battery connector, 1, 2, 3 capacitors, headphone jack, power in, speaker. So one thing I gotta do is measure these capacitors in case I need one. So this is labeled GVD 106 volt, and it is 6 millimeters diameter. This one is labeled 2216S 8K7. Okay, we got a diameter of 3 millimeters roughly. Down here we have GBV 104 volt. Got a diameter of 4.5 millimeters. All right, that is what it is. So we've got to get the boards out of here to replace the screen plate. So I'm seeing Phillips, 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 and that's it. Using a PH0 Phillips head 0 screwdriver. Those in their own special pile, away from the tri-wings. Okay, that's almost okay. We have to remove this LCD cable. That out of there all carefully. Pull that out, and the speaker is not going anywhere. So that is annoying. We're gonna have to figure out how that speaker is attached later, but not at the moment. Okay, so we have the connectors for these buttons, and they're getting a little old. So we're gonna want to kind of clean these off a little bit. What we're gonna do is get a piece of paper and just push on each button and just lightly rub it on the paper. It's mild abrasive. That's gonna kind of clean it up a little bit. Any dirt or oxidation. Let's have a tiny thin layer of it, which should be fine. See the line? Try to clean up the dirt as you can. We're gonna use a tiny bit of rubbing alcohol to clean up this dirt, but be careful because rubbing alcohol is not the best substance in the world to use on rubber type things. It can dry it out, so be very sparing with it. Avoid the contact unless you really have to. We'll just clean these up a little bit. Hopefully rubbing the contacts on the paper is all we need to get that good. And where we really want the rubbing alcohol though is the contacts on the board. That's the important part. And that's where you can get a buildup of oxidation, and you don't want that. Just a little bit, should be all we need. Fantastic, although this board is really dirty. Let's give that a little touch up. Okay, how do we get to the screen protector? Well, it's a hassle. Foam is okay. Okay, it looks like under here, there's a little bit of a space we can pry up the entire screen. I don't really want to do that. So let's try doing it from the front, which I also don't want to do, but that seems to be what we can do. Oh yeah, that's kind of going to come up. That's going to come up. Try to, if you're going to damage anything, damage the glass you're replacing. Well, it's plastic, but not the frame. Oh yeah, that's going to come right up. Well, speaking of damage to the glass you're replacing, holy crap. Yeah, you don't want to do that if you want to keep it OEM. That's for sure. Okay, here we go. Starting to come up. A little bit of heat would probably help if you got it. That's that. Okay. Yeah, it's just feels like safety glasses, really. Polycarbonate, probably. Now that I completely destroyed the front of it, I have to replace it. That's the back side. It's interesting because you can see the original color of this Game Boy. Clean, beautiful, ugly, dirty, clean, dirty, clean, dirty. Clean, dirty, purple, gross, nice. That's okay, but bad on the front. All right. So make sure you keep this LCD clean, because if you need to go touch it up, that's going to be a big hassle that I have to do right now. So it turns out you don't have to pull this entire thing apart just to change the faceplate. I didn't know that, but now you do. Okay, so let's make sure this LCD is as clean and dust-free as possible. Any dust left behind is going to be there forever, and you don't want that. So a nice new disposable cleaning cloth, which hopefully won't have any grease or anything to leave behind on the screen. Give that a once over. Maybe give it a twice over. Clean it the best you possibly can, because you're a good person. All right, that's looking pretty good. It's ready for a replacement faceplate. So I have two options here. This one is plastic and cheap. I think it was less than $2. This one is tempered glass. Not as cheap, probably $5 to $10, but if you're doing it, why not? So interesting things to point out about these different faceplates. First of all, neither of them are the exact same color as the original. This gray border is kind of a medium gray. This one is less yellow, but pretty close. This one is a darker black on the tempered glass. The power buttons have a slightly different angle to it. And most notably is the Game Boy Color logo is different. They're close. It's not that noticeable until you go side by side, but they're not exactly the same. So Game Boy on the glass one is not as bold as on the new one. The C is a nice light color instead of the regular kind of raspberry that it had before. But on the plastic one, it's still, the C is still not right. It's more of a red. So these colors are based on the launch colors of the Game Boy Color. So you have raspberry probably, plum, I don't know, lime, lemon, blueberry, I don't know. I'll look this up. So these colors are relative to that. So this is kind of a slightly purple, pinkish red. This is more of regular red. This is sort of a faded pink. And if you notice, these COLOR, They're not the same boldness. The O does not touch the L in the same way that this O touches this L. It's just a little bit different. My point is that if you're trying to pass this off as an original screen, 100% original Game Boy, they're going to be able to figure that out. Most people aren't going to care, but if some collectors out there trying to make sure this is 100% OEM, yeah, you're not fooling anybody, really. So the question is, which of these different screens do I go with? The answer is the tempered glass one, because this one's not perfect either. Also, tempered glass is cool and scratch resistant. And I mean, obviously we want scratch resistant. So it's going to be pretty simple to apply this. We're going to pull off the backing, which, okay, this is not what a screen should do. Somebody screwed up at the factory here. What are we doing here? I pulled this off. And now I just have a sticky, opaque screen. Okay. So let's pull that off all the way. Okay, here's the stickiness. Great. Very sticky. Still opaque. This is not ideal. Ah, got it. Okay, this was kind of hard to pull off. What a pain. So that could have been better, but fortunately, to apply it, there we go. Nice and sticky. Hopefully the right shape. We only get one go at this. Line it up. Press it down. Amazing. Easy. You don't need to pull the Game Boy apart. Cannot overemphasize that. Pulling that apart was a waste of time. It looks like it fits pretty good. And let's just pull this screen off. We only get one chance. There we go. Fantastic. Okay, and then we have a nice, clean, fresh screen for our Game Boy Color. Scratch-free. Isn't that nice? Again, be very careful to make sure no dust gets under this screen. Even if it's brand new, make sure you clean it out, blow it out, because the tiniest amount of dust is just going to get stuck in there and be very annoying. So now that we have this together, let's put it back together. There's no reason really to take it apart except to clean off these buttons, which we still needed to do. And we'll see how that works out. So we flip it over, we need to add the buttons back in here. Got the D-pad here. Let's make sure we clean that up just a little bit while we have it out. So we got some rubbing alcohol on a cotton swab, just kind of getting the dirt out of these cracks here. Just like that. There we go, just gonna get the crud out. Okay, just like that, get the D-pad back in place, like so. Have the buttons. There, we have the switch. Clean it off a little bit. So it's detent down, like that. So we got the A button. We got the B button. Clean these off a little bit. Got the big hole, little hole, little hole. Get that on there. Board back in position. Switch lined up. Watch out for the ribbon cable. Don't forget the start buttons, obviously. I'm super smart. Let's get these 3 Phillips heads back in. There's many little plastic pegs. Make sure those all line up. There's one. Power switch a little bit better. There we go. That's 2. There's 3. Phillips head 1 is just slightly better for driving those in there. Let's get the entire body back on. Before that, make sure we get this LCD plugged back in. You're not going to love life if you lose picture because the LCD is not plugged in. There you go, slip it back in the slot. Double check, make sure it's all the way in. Seems okay. Then click these little black tabs back in there. back on. Get the battery lined up here. Push that down. Get your Y-wing back out. Screw it back in. 6 Y-wing screws. What could possibly go wrong? Probably everything. Now, batteries. 1, 2. Get that in. Pokemon, power on. Fantastic. Nice clear screen. What more could you want? Backlight, I bet. Alright, seems okay. Buttons seem to be working. Got all that back together, which is fantastic. Now, one more thing is we need to clean up this guy a little bit. Got rubbing alcohol. Let's get this Venusaur sticker off because that is terrible. Slightly scrape it, soak it in alcohol. And let's get the batteries out. Just clean it up. What could possibly go wrong? Stickers here. Who needs them? I certainly don't. All right, look, that sticker left this horrible discolored mark where we have the beautiful purple surrounded by this ugliness, and no amount of scrubbing is going to change that. But come back next time, I have a trick up my sleeve, and we're going to totally eliminate this problem of the ancient sticker that covered up part of the Game Boy. This has been Sparkyo. Welcome to 2022. Please like, please subscribe, please click the thingy and do the whatever, and have a great new year. All right, Sparkyo out.